is Eli?
Yo, YouTube, what's good? It's your boy Eli So Fly. We back with another reaction, and today we are reacting to the darkest conspiracies by a guy named Big Tug. If you don't know who Big Tug is, he make kind of like commentary, kind of like one-off videos about a bunch of different topics. I don't know why I'm explaining who he is, y'all. Leave a like, subscribe, tap into the description down below, bro. We got all the links to all the channels, all the, you know what I'm saying, the Twitch, all of that. And with that being said, let's get into the reaction, bro.
You can see me absolutely completely naked. Well, that's not true. Chris, zoom out, let him know I'm not completely naked. But it's an exclusive video content on extratug.com if you want to check that out. It does get a little raunchy, at least. Conspiracies are weird. It's the one thing your blue
Chad, what's y'all craziest conspiracy that y'all believe in?
Everyone thinks that something else other than what we've been told is going on, which was proven to me because my last conspiracy video did really well, so now I'm making a sequel. Hee hee. But why do we love conspiracies so much? Well, misinformation experts, which I guess is a job, believe that tragic events make a very fertile breeding ground for conspiracy theories. And it seems like we've been having terrible tragedies every day for the past 20 years, so it makes sense that these things are popping off right now. As humans, we tend to feel uncomfortable with the awful random occurrences, so we've developed psychological biases that help us make sense of these events. The fancy term for this is fundamental attribution error, which means you believe that everything is intentional instead of just, you know, random crazy bullshit happening all the time. So as I go on to explain all the conspiracy theories I'm about to talk about, just know that
some
even though they seem
medicines are
far-fetched,
purposely not made to keep up the hospital bills. I believe it. I believe that too, Gats. I believe that too. I believe they already found a cure for cancer, but they ain't, you know what I'm saying? They ain't gonna never release it, bro. You know what I'm saying?
it's just a way for people to cope, and that's how you should look at this video. And I wanted to give that disclaimer because this is darker. The last episode I tried to shy away from the dark things, and now this is like 90% dark shit. So buckle up, kids. We'll start dark light, like a nice brown toast with the Denver airport. This one's a little weird. Depending on which brand of conspiracy
this that airport that got that freaking... Yo, this that airport that got that freaking like statue of a freaking like demonic horse. It's like a freaking like three-headed horse or something, and it got like freaking red ruby eyes or something. I ain't gonna lie, yeah, they doing some demonic junk at that that airport, bro. Most definitely.
The meetup spot of the Illuminati, New World Order, Freemasons, or the Nazis. It's like the Baskin Robbins of conspiracies. You get a little samples. Oh, delicious. Oh, Nazis? Oh, fantastic. I shouldn't don't put that in the video, Chris. A lot of the conspiracy comes from the freaky-ass architecture that comes with the Denver airport. Like, for instance, this gargoyle. Why is that there?
Right.
I'm trying to calm down before a flight, and you're going to show me a literal stone demon? That doesn't seem correct. But apparently gargoyles are there to ward off evil spirits, so I guess that their mentality was correct in that sense. But, you know, maybe read the room. This isn't Notre Dame. This is an airport, the biggest airport in America, maybe the world, but it's an airport. And if you think that gargoyles are weird, wait until you see the Children of the World Dream of Peace mural. That's in the airport.
Wait,
the soldiers in the gas masks is giving off strong Nazi vibes, and the crying mom suggests that all the children of the world aren't dreaming of peace, they're dead.
Like, why is this in an airport? I don't understand. Why is that in an airport? Why are these things in an airport? Like, nigga, let me just get on my flight and go. Well, like, why do I need a mural of a nigga in a gas mask that look like Dr. Doom taking over the world? Like, why do I need that?
Be a commentary of the horrors of war, which, why is this in an airport? The conspiracy theorists think it's a depiction of the apocalypse, which I don't blame them. And that validates the next Denver airport conspiracy, which is that the 470,000 square feet of underground space beneath the airport will host bunkers for the rich and powerful after the apocalypse. Now, in reality, or what they tell us, is that all those tunnels and shit is to move luggage everywhere, and you know, you don't do it up top, you do it down below like at Disney. And it is one of the busiest airports in the world, so it makes sense you'd need all that stuff under there, but I don't know. That's a lot of stuff under the airport. I don't know why they have all that. All the secret society stuff does sound insane, but there's always just enough room for misinformation to slip in and make it all make sense. For example, there's a dedication stone in the airport that states the airport was funded by the New World Airport Commission, which...
Oh yeah, that's a Freemason. That's a Freemasonry symbol right there. I know the symbolism. That's a Freemason right there. Yeah, Denver, y'all cooked.
It's probably not related to the New World
Y'all
Order,
are cooked.
But it definitely has a lot of the same words. And conspiracy theorists will be quick to point out that there actually isn't a New World Airport Commission. That's not a real thing, and that it's all a thinly veiled reference to the New World Order. But it turns out it's just the name a group of local small businesses chose when they banded together to promote the airport by putting together a time capsule. So it was just a bunch of local businesses being like, let's make a fun little time capsule and pick a silly little name, and they didn't really think that your uncle on 4chan would be getting deep into this shit. And the connections get even looser. Right. In front of the gas mask Nazi mural, there's a small inlay on the floor featuring the letters AU and AG. These are obviously the periodic symbols for gold and silver, which, you know, pays homage to the Colorado's mining history. But conspiracy theorists claim, and this is not a joke, it refers to a deadly strain of hepatitis, Australia antigen, which was discovered by Baruch Samuel Bloomberg, who financed the airport. But there's a little bit of hole in this one. Bloomberg didn't finance
I think that's
the
a
airport,
reach.
So
I ain't gonna lie. I feel like that's a crazy
scientific
reach.
Abbreviation
that
is
one's a
actually
reach.
HBsAg. So not 1 minute of this has been correct. But there's one thing we can't really explain as a unit. It's less of a conspiracy, but more just what's up with that fucking blue horse? We talked about it in another episode. That thing just
the freaking horse. What's up with that?
So when you drive to the Denver airport, you see this big fucking crazy horse, and it's got glowing red eyes, and it's scary, and you can't go look at it. It's far off the road. I don't know why it's there. But I forgot to mention last time that it's so big and heavy that the sculptor making it died when a piece of it fell off and killed him. So it's like a cursed horse. Some people say it represents one of the 4 horsemen in the apocalypse, which you could point to any horse and say that. There'd have to be 4, King. 1 horse is not, that doesn't count. But at the end of the day, bad vibes. Bad vibes from the beginning to the end of the Denver airport. Have you ever been in there? It's fucking terrifying to try and get to your flight. You have to take a train. It is gigantic. Like I said, it's bigger than San Francisco. Did I say that yet? I don't know, Chris. I'm losing my mind. Next up in the conspiracy gauntlet is a conspiracy theory that I don't even think it's that far-fetched, but it might not, I don't know. Let's talk about it. Around 2021, the idea of the dead internet theory started making the rounds on what is dead internet? The conspiracy claims that much of the internet's content and activity is driven by bots and AI, and that most conversations online are between fake accounts winding each other up and spinning their wheels. So pretty much everything you see on the internet was created by and interacted with bots, which isn't that far-fetched. It was found out a couple years ago that 50% of users on the internet were bots. So that's okay. And it's pretty obvious. Like, if you ever wander into the comment section of an Instagram post and someone just, it's like a video of a dog and someone's like, huh, Biden would kill this dog. Like, that's a bot. All of those heavily politicized commenters are always bots. And as the use of AI grows, it's more likely than not that we'll see an increase in AI-generated content. So it's bots making content.
YouTube got bots too. I know YouTube got bots.
It's all over. There's no more room for people. There's not a seat on the train. So why is this a conspiracy exactly? Isn't this a logical endgame for what's happening to the internet right now? Well, according to Illuminati Pirate, the author of the original 2021 post about the dead internet,
died 5 years ago.
Read it verbatim. The U.S. government is engaging in an artificial intelligence-powered gaslighting of the entire world population. Okay. So let's take a minute and pause. The dead internet theory is the most internet theory possible. You think that the government is filling the internet with bots to... Oh, no, that actually might be real. Try to manipulate all our brains. That makes sense. And I also always think about this theory because when I post a video and I get like 200,000 likes on it, I'm like, there's no way there's that many people who give a shit about what I'm doing. And this is not me asking you to go to the comments and say, oh, Tucker, you're doing great. Actually, go to the comments and say something because it's good for the algorithm. But at the end of the day, I can't... It's just, you know... Half of them have to be bots. I love when a pretty girl comments on my shit saying, Tucker, you're so cute, someone should click on my link. Like, it's fun. I think it's fun. Anyway, moving on. Even though Illuminati Pirate makes some interesting points, dead internet theory is a classic example of fundamental attribution error. For people who miss the old internet, it's easier to see Web 2.0 and whatever fresh hell awaits us next as an intentional change rather than what it most likely is. Technology's exponential growth shoehorned into every aspect of our lives and then exploited by money-hungry opportunists. To be fair, the gradual and casual destruction of the internet as we know it is a little bit disturbing. It's like one of the biggest inventions we've ever had, and we're slowly rotting it to its core. Like, it's like we just, like, someone invented the printing press, and we were like, it's been 20 years, burn that shit. We're done with that, king. But I think the problems with the internet, like AI slop and bots talking to each other, is more of a greed thing than an actual chance to manipulate our brains. But Illuminati Pirate believes that we're in a, quote, strange kind of civil war, and that big tech giants are being used by the NSA. And as with most conspiracy theories, the monochrome of truth at the center of this helps spread it a little bit further. But it's clear to anyone who's been on the internet that the internet gets a little bit worse every year from the year before it. And maybe it's just a little bit, you know, more feel good.
I feel like every year we use the internet, it gets worse. With every passing year that we're continuously on the internet, I feel like it gets worse. We went from the internet being like a genuine place to brain rot activities, TikTok trends, AI generated videos, LeBron James freaking R&B songs. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing, bro? How do we get here?
that are making it worse instead of all of us collectively destroying this thing as a unit. And
How do we
exactly
get here?
What's going on? God damn it. However, I do find the dead internet theory to be interesting because it's like the next big thing, you know? Like, I wasn't around for all the old school conspiracy theories, like the 9/11 ones and shit like that. Like, this is cool. I'm here. I'm on the wave. But sometimes it's nice to revisit a classic. Let's talk about lizard people real quick. Or to be more exact, shape-shifting reptilians who take on human form to infiltrate the government. This is a real thing that a lot of people believe, so let's talk about it real quick. The modern roots of this idea can be traced back to the creator of Conan the Barbarian, Robert E. Howard. Who
I used to believe this conspiracy. I don't know if I believe in this conspiracy much anymore. I don't really know. I don't necessarily think it's like lizard people controlling the government or anything. But I do feel like it's a lot of like just like I guess like dark demonic forces running like the government and stuff. If that makes, or not just the government, but just running like the world in general. Like, I feel like behind closed doors, a lot of these people is like making like weird like pacts with the devil and like freaking rituals and all of that. I do believe that. I don't think I believe like there's lizard people controlling stuff no more though. I used to believe that when I was like in middle school. But yeah.
Wrote The Shadow Kingdom in 1929. The story featured serpent men who would imitate humans and was inspired by the writings of Russian conspiracy theorist Helena Blavatsky, who believed a secret brotherhood of spiritual masters lived underground in Tibet.
No, Eli is a lizard. No, Eli is a lizard trying to manipulate us. I'm not trying to manipulate y'all, bro.
Reptilian idea until a decade later when these horror stories inspired American occultist Maurice Doreal's Emerald Tablets
We're trapped
of
in his
the
basement.
Atlantean,
Okay,
which
bro.
Doreal claimed was a translation of actual tablets he found in the Great Pyramid of Giza. What the f? Doreal's pseudo-historical blend of the spiritual themes of Blavatsky and imagery of Howard was a huge inspiration to the father of modern lizard people, David Icke. I don't know. You can't talk about shape-shifting reptilians without this guy. He is the forefather of bringing this to the public. A former soccer player and broadcaster, he has become one of the world's leading conspiracy theorists. According to Icke, or Ick, I don't know how to pronounce this, in 1990, a psychic told him that he would soon be contacted by the spiritual world. In the following year, he was calling himself the, quote, son of the Godhead and talking about the end of the world on British television. Icke, whoever he is, has gone on to publish 20 books, and usually they're a blend of conspiracy theories and spiritualism, but all of the books end up with having one overall thesis, which is, let me quote, interdimensional reptilian beings named the Archons have been taking over the planet and created a hybrid race of reptilian shapeshifters called the Babylonian Brotherhood to rule humans by fear. Real, like, people go to jobs and they believe this, and they get to vote. I don't know what's going on. With lizard people as his anchor, he spent the last 3 decades riffing on ideas such as our dystopian reality is being monitored by Saturn via the hollow moon. The universe is made up of vibrational energy and the world is just a holographic projection. And that time is an illusion, which at the end of the, like 2 of those was just like, whatever, whatever, you can't prove it's not real. So the dude who's writing all of this, Icke, at times he seems harmless, you know, he's just warning people about the Archons and how they're going to melt our brains. But he's also made countless claims that presidents, prime ministers, royalty, celebrities, and bankers are running pedophile rings. And that's not good. These type of allegations have disastrous consequences if we remember Pizzagate. And also, anti-Semitism. That shows up in almost every conspiracy theory if you dig too deep. Icke has accused many high-profile Jews of being lizard people, but he claims that he isn't an anti-Semite because he isn't saying Jews are bad, just that lots of reptilians are posing as Jews and doing bad things. So that's a little bit of a cop-out, I would say. However, he's also said that Jews were behind the slave trade, controlled the KKK, are fronts for far-right groups, and that they funded the Holocaust. So, not a cool dude. Oh, also, he thinks that schools should be teaching Holocaust denial in the curriculum. So, he's a bad guy. This whole thing is so stupid. But if you think that anti-Semitic pedophile lizard people conspiracy theories are dark, well, now we're going to start talking about the conspiracy peoples where people die. So, we're just going to keep plowing through QAnon. That was crazy. I don't know if it's still going, honestly. The news cycle moves so fast that it might seem like an entire lifetime ago, but QAnon played a huge role in right-wing political discourse for 4 years.
What is
it was
that?
an insane game of like an adjacent political Mad Libs that had a vice grip on every boomer in this goddamn country. Which is ironic because this conspiracy theory is so deeply ingrained in internet culture that you didn't think old people would be into it. But my conspiracy theory is that our uncles all got stuck inside because of COVID and they had nothing to do but look at the computer. And our generation is good at looking through the bullshit. We've been raised on the internet, so we can just like let that wash over us. They just took it all to the face. Everything they read, they believed. So that's why this is so crazy right now. COVID locked up
what
our
is
uncles and they read
QAnon?
QAnon. It started on image boards like 4chan and 8chan with a leader named Q posting drops that claimed a cabal of satanic child and cannibals operates a global child sex trafficking ring. Sounds familiar, right?
Okay.
You know, everyone's looking for that. I'm gonna say a lot in this video, and we're gonna have to bleep it a lot. But there was a crucial
I'm
twist.
glad you bleeping
QAnon
it,
and his
bro.
followers
Don't get
believed
me
the
banned on Twitch.
cannibals were conspiring against Donald Trump. Oh no, not our boy Donnie Trump. Some less than famous people like Roseanne Barr and Tom Hanks' cool-ass son Chet Hanks. If you don't know who Chet Hanks is, please look him up. He's my favorite person on earth. Why did he pretend to be Jamaican for a while? I don't get it. But they were vocal in their support for QAnon, and all of a sudden it became a legitimate political force. Known dipshits Marjorie Taylor Greene and Lauren Boebert were both unabashed QAnon followers, and now they serve in the U.S. Congress. And look, I'm not trying to get political here. Not known to do that. But we can all agree at this point QAnon was a scam, right? We can all agree on that.
I'm still lost on what it even was.
Insider with top secret clearance, but we now know that it was the brainchild of a millennial
Yo, what's
nerd
good,
named
Trill?
Ron Watkins.
What's good,
The
Monkey
posts were
Pox?
always nonsense. Like he specifically made them to be more of brain teasers and memes than anything that actually said anything. Like Chris, go ahead and throw up that weird QAnon drop for me. Go ahead. Right? Like. Well, you can glean a million different things from this. Q would also drop some cryptic, fun, political slam poetry. Chris, go ahead and play a little, like, smooth jazz while I read this like a beatnik. We stand, we fight, together. Organized riots being planned. Countermeasures in place. Resistance far smaller than portrayed by mainstream media. Attacks will intensify.
My mom went to Texas for work things and my heart is broken.
Censorship
Why you ain't go with her, Monkey Pox?
It's failing. Trust yourself. Public awakening. Q. That was a real post that QAnon did, and people ate that up. It's tempting to ignore QAnon as simply goofy, political version of online conspiracies tailor-made for drunk uncles, but the heightened stakes and, dramatic language had some pretty darn-ass consequences. Like, a third of all Americans believe Joe Biden didn't actually win the 2020 election, which is...
School? That's tough, man.
Like, what do we do? Q stoked fear in the electorate and urged them to get ready for the coming storm and to be prepared for the fight. And then that kind of led to the January 6th, resurrection. What is it called? Insurrection, not resurrection. That led to, like, 6 people dying. So, no, 7 people dying. So, like, it had consequences, this dumbass fucking online treasure hunt. And American history textbooks are gonna have to put QAnon in them. Like, they're gonna have, like, a QAnon shaman, like, visual. It wasn't real. God damn, dude. And what better way to pivot away from QAnon
I'm so confused on what QAnon is supposed to be, chat.
Because they're the same fucking people. So anti-vaxxers have been around for as long as vaccinations. Calling it a conspiracy theory is almost a misnomer because there's not one, like, unified conspiracy here. Anti-vax conspiracies are really just a blanket distrust of medicine and science that have been around for over 2 centuries.
I ain't gonna lie, chat.
Its roots all the way back.
I've become an anti-vaxxer, bro. I've become an anti-vaxxer. I ain't gonna lie. I have definitely become an anti-vaxxer in my awakening. In my spiritual awakening, I have definitely become an anti-vaxxer, bro.
Vaccinations in the 19th century. Parents in England feared the smallpox vaccine and many protested it. Even clergymen called it unchristianing, claimed that smallpox was necessary as one of God's punishments. But the vaccinations were proved successful in saving lives, so they eventually became mandatory for children. This really upset British citizens' sense of individual liberties and also concerned the people because, to be fair, doctors weren't regulated back then and they were feeding children cocaine. The Anti-Vaccination League and the Anti-Compulsory Vaccination League formed along with several
I just feel like it's a natural way to do things, bro. Honestly, like, I just feel like it's a natural alternative to everything, bro. That's how I feel, me personally. I feel like it's a natural alternative to everything. Niggas did not have vaccines that long ago. In the biblical age, niggas did not have vaccines, and niggas was living very lengthy lives. You don't need a freaking vaccine to live a lengthy life. Just take care of your freaking health. That's literally all you have to do is take care of your freaking health. You don't need a vaccine to do what you should be doing anyway.
vaccination journals. And then in 1885, an anti-vaccine march took place in the city of Leicester. Upwards of 100,000 people took part in the event, which included a child-sized coffin and an effigy of the inventor of the smallpox vaccination. This was pretty much the
Queen J, them niggas was living to like 300 in the Bible, bro. Them niggas was living lengthy lives. Niggas just be nasty. What you mean? GG, you clearly speaking from experience. You talking to me? Camel's piss has medicinal and therapeutic effects. See, I didn't even know about that. I ain't gonna lie, Gas, that's you, bro. You the one drinking camel piss. You trying to project on me. I ain't even know. I don't want to catch the butterfly sickness. What is the butterfly sickness again? What is that? I forgot what that was.
Every other major vaccination.
It's a natural way to like cure sicknesses, bro. You ain't gotta resort to like freaking. I ain't gonna lie. I know we going on a crazy like freaking tangent, but you ain't gotta resort to no like over the counter medicines or nothing. It's natural ways you can deal with stuff. They're like, cause here's the thing: if you believe so much in this medicine, they had to get the source of the medicine from somewhere. They didn't just come up, oh yeah, let me just boom, pull the medicine out of thin air. They got ingredients that, you know what I'm saying? They got ingredients that they found out cure whatever said thing, and then they added extra stuff that give you extra side effects, so you got to buy more medicine. That's all they did was add extra stuff to it, to the formula, so you got to buy more medicine. You can find a natural way to heal yourself. Just, you know what I'm saying? All it takes is a little research. Arguably both.
Theory of vaccinations, tetanus vaccinations, all causing controversy in the 1970s. And then measles, mumps, and rubella vaccines doing the same in the late 1990s. Everyone is against this when it first comes out. Opposition to the MMR vaccine remains to this day, thanks to the faulted and crooked studies done by a doctor named Andrew Wakefield. In 1998, Wakefield published a study in the British Medical Journal linking MMR vaccine to autism. And I want to say this right now, we're going to talk about it, but I want to get this out up in front. Vaccines don't cause autism. I don't know why your kid's autistic, probably because he's got a bunch of microplastic in his balls, but the vaccines aren't doing that. Okay, hon? Don't blame the needle. Other researchers were immediately unable to reproduce Wakefield's results, and the legitimacy of his study was called into question. Investigators found that a board had paid Wakefield to find out if there was evidence to support a litigation case, and that he had falsified his data and was planning on profiting from the study by holding patents for a rival vaccine. So he made the vaccine look bad so he could sell his other vaccine and make money. There was nothing.
But that's the thing. They putting stuff in the food that's naturally killing us, or not naturally, but they putting stuff in the food that's killing you. They potentially putting stuff in the air that's killing you. You know what I'm saying? Them carbon emissions and junk that's killing you. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, bruh.
The study. He wasn't doing it for any good reason. Oh, and he was also pretty f***ed up in the way he gathered his fake data anyways. He performed spinal taps on children when they didn't need them. And like, people are going out looking for files of Pizzagate. This is a little bit worse than that. This is real and it actually happened. And this next one's actually real. He paid kids for samples of their blood at his own child's birthday party. Bad guy. Eventually, his paper was retracted and he was removed from the UK medical register, but the genie was already out of the bottle. Former 90s MTV star Jenny McCarthy, do you know who she is? Probably not, besides the fact that she's a anti-vaxxing dumbass bitch. She became a vocal opponent of vaccines, often citing Wakefield's study. She even wrote the foreword to Wakefield's 2010 anti-vax book. Her television appearances telling the sympathetic story of her child's struggle with autism gave rise to the anti-vax movement in the US, and that movement is seeing real results. Not only is the anti-vaxxer RFK the Secretary of Health in the United States, but as I was researching this, there was a outbreak of measles in Texas, and one kid has already died because he wasn't vaccinated, but at least he doesn't have autism, right, you idiot? So while there is no scientific link between vaccines and autism, it is estimated that vaccines have saved how much? 154 million lives globally since 1974, and 95% of those are kids under the age of 5. So are you worried about kids or are you not? Gang, what are we doing? You'll believe that Hillary Clinton is, peeling children's faces like oranges and drinking their blood, but you won't give your kid a vaccine that's gonna save his life, you're stupid. You're a dumb idiot. All right, okay, now this is the darkest we're gonna be talking about. We're at the dark back of the script. So here we go. 9/11. Jumping right in.
People are saying vaccines make you acoustic,
which I don't know how anyone would do that. On September 11th, 2001,
so.
2,977 people were killed during a coordinated terrorist attack by Al Qaeda. Jokes aside, it was a terrible generation-defining thing. Like, it was probably the worst thing that I'm going to be alive for. If you were alive during it, you remember where you were. And I was 4 years old, and I remember looking at the TV and thinking it was an action movie, and my mom was crying. That's all I remember. But if you had a frontal cortex, you remember where you were. Like when JFK got assassinated in the 60s. You remember where you were. And I understand having a healthy mistrust of the government. I really do. But generally, when the U.S. intentionally causes harm to our citizens, like MK Ultra, we're really hush-hush about it. But 9/11 conspiracy theorists think that the U.S. government either knew about the attacks and let them happen, or coordinated the events ourselves. Why? Well, so they could take away our freedoms in the name of the national security while establishing an authoritarian government. And the craziest part is that with the Patriot Act and the revelation about the NSA spying on American citizens, they were sort of right, at least about the consequences. So whatever. They were right about that. That's fine. That's fine.
I'm not gonna lie, chat. I feel like they on to something. I really feel like they on to something, bro. To be honest, I don't like. I feel like they on to something, bro. Cause I definitely do feel like the government be manipulating stuff in their favor, bro. Soon as it's not in their favor no more, they start tinkering and manipulating stuff again. Y'all seen how they did with the C-19, bruh. They put us on lockdown, right? They put us on lockdown. They realized they was losing hella bread. Everything was finna go under, bruh. Do y'all remember? The economy was going crazy. Like, the economy was going down drastically off everybody being in quarantine. Them niggas said, nah, we can't do this. We can't do this too much longer. They said we gotta figure something out quick. They had them niggas working double time on that vaccine. And once that vaccine dropped, they said everybody get the damn vaccine or you can't go back to work. You can't go back to school. You can't go shopping. You can't do nothing. You can't even leave your house unless you got the damn vaccine. Y'all remember that? That was them manipulating junk. To keep the economy rolling, bruh. The American government doesn't even have proof to say who did it. Man, it's so much weird stuff when you think about September 11, bro. It's so much weird just stuff surrounding that whole fiasco. Like apparently they had like some type of like freaking like attack drill the day before or the week before or something. Biggie Smalls predicting the freaking, like, how the hell Biggie Smalls predicting the junk? I don't know what's going on. There's so much weird junk surrounding that incident. I don't know what to believe, bro. To be honest, I don't know what to believe. Like, Biggie predicting the incident had me baffled, nigga. I remember listening to the song. Nigga said, time to get paid, blow up like the World Trade. I said, wait, what? Rewind that? What'd he say? Now, let alone they said that it did have some type of incident before the whole September 11th thing where it was like, I don't know, some type of like boom in there or something. I don't know. But it still was weird to me how he like, you know what I'm saying? I don't know, bro. It's like, it's weird. And
then President George W. Bush used 9/11 to jump into invading Iraq, which seemed a little convenient. And then the country lost privacy altogether in the name of national security. So, it makes you think. But it's like Winston Churchill said, never let a crisis go to waste. These were consequences, not the cause. You understand what I'm saying? It doesn't make sense that the U.S. would cannibalize itself in such a public way. But of course, 9/11 truthers think that they have the truth. Every once in a while, if you're hitting it off with a stranger on some subversive shit, they'll test the waters and ask if you've seen Loose Change. This was a low-budget 9/11 conspiracy documentary made on a laptop in 2005, and some experts consider it the single most popular piece of conspiracy media ever. If you've seen Loose Change, it definitely has a vibe. It's got slow-motion explosion, lo-fi beats, and tons of quotes and clips taken out of context. No wonder indie directors like David Lynch and Kevin Smith mentioned the film during interviews. It was the prototype for YouTube conspiracy documentaries that would come in the following years, using a barrage of footage to draw in the viewer while peppering them with questions while offering absolutely no answers. But if you look at their claims, you can debunk each one. And I'm about to do that real quick. Question: how could the building collapse if steel frames didn't melt? Answer: the steel frames didn't have to melt to lose structural integrity. There was a plane that hit a building. A plane hit a big ass plane hit a building. Steel loses over half its strength at temperatures over 1100 degrees, and jet fuel can easily reach that. Question: if the Twin Towers weren't on controlled demolition, why were there demolition-like spikes in seismic activity before the building collapsed? Answer: there weren't. That did not happen. This is just one cherry-picked graph that, due to showing the seismic readings over a longer period of time, appears to have a spike.
What if the first incident was a test, and the time in between the first incident and the actual attack was them planning and making sure nobody would actually find out? I ain't gonna lie, I think you're reaching, buddy. I think you're reaching, buddy. I ain't gonna lie.
And I could go on. I could go on about all of this all day. You can point to the things they're talking about and shut them down, and then they'll have 5 other misinformed facts to throw at you. My point is that truthers are experts at flooding the zone with questions. They never have to actually prove anything if they constantly put the burden of proof onto you. But these are the same guys who will fold a $20 bill and make it look like 9/11 on the back, like vaguely it looks like 2 buildings burning, and they're like, so they did it. Like, are you f***ing stupid? Imagine working at the U.S. Mint. Like, think of how many people would have to know about that. Think of how many people down the line. Like the president, everyone lets 9/11 happen, and then you're just a f***ing worker at the Mint, and they're like, hey, we're gonna.
But the damn vaccines got chemicals in them. Does that not make sense to you, bro?
On the back of this, don't tell anyone. But sometimes, you know, I enjoy a good. Listen. This is the part of the video where I admit I'm definitely a bit of.
You do know that the U.S. the U.S. does conduct population control, right? You do know they do that, right?
Theorist. I've been acting slightly detached from every conspiracy we've talked about in terms of, you know, keeping up the flow of the video, but you're all about to hear what kind of guy I am, because this next conspiracy theory is that motherfucker didn't kill himself. Epstein, no fucking shot that dude killed himself. And that's technically a conspiracy, but like, no, it's not. It's so obvious that it's one of the few things that unites everyone on the case. At one point, 45% of Americans believe this disgraced financier and convicted sex offender was murdered in his jail cell. It's just so convenient that the night he supposedly hung himself, all of the cameras went down and the guards on duty were asleep? All of them? I don't know how many guards are in a prison, but
yeah,
can't be
I ain't gonna lie. This is crazy.
Quickly ruled a suicide by the city's medical examiner, but a pathologist hired by Epstein's family observed injuries during the autopsy that are more consistent with homicidal strangulation, which is interesting. But also, imagine being Epstein's, like, sister. That must be a crazy life. The guards responsible for watching Epstein were charged with conspiracy and record falsification, and a Justice Department watchdog laid the blame on staffing shortages. But I don't know, dude. I don't know, you know? Maybe I'm falling victim to that old fundamental attribution error, but between the sketchy circumstances surrounding his death and the powerful people he had a relationship with, which has not been released yet.
Did they ever drop that list, chat? Did they ever drop the list? I know they were supposed to drop the list like a month ago. Did they drop that junk?
Can't help but think that it would be in a lot of people's interest if this motherfucker died instead of singing like a jailbird. It's already known in the 90s Epstein used his relationship with Victoria's Secret CEO Les Wexner to gain access to young models, and Epstein's connections ran deep, and let's just say we're less than savory. You know, Michael Jackson, Prince Andrew, Kevin Spacey, Bill Clinton, Donald Trump, like the dream team of sexual predators, the Mount Rushmore. And I think it's crazy that Trump supporters are like, show us the names, show us the names. Like, there's so many pictures of, Chris, put it up. I always do. Chris, please put this up. There are so many pictures of your guy with this dude. Like, even if he wasn't going to the island, dude, like, he's homies with this guy. They probably talked about some shit. It wasn't all business. I mean, I get it. Rich people hang out.
Bro, that nigga Donald Trump always
that's a lot of
old,
pictures
bro.
with this guy. Remember how pissed we were when we found out Ellen DeGeneres was friends with George W. Bush? This is that times a billion. But there's just no way that everyone who went to that island when it was innocent. Everyone's gonna have a scapegoat story, but like, at the end of the day, King, one of you was doing this shit.
Right. I ain't gonna lie, this remind me of the whole Diddy situation, bro. Like, how he was talking about, he was just saying like everybody gonna have a story of like a scapegoat story of how they was there but they didn't do nothing or whatever. But the whole Diddy situation is the same thing, because niggas be like you see all the celebrities at midnight, they was like, yeah, I went to a Diddy party but I didn't see nothing going on, or they must have been doing that after I left, because I used to leave at a pretty early time, you know what I'm saying? Because I don't really like to hang out like that. So whatever Diddy was doing, they must have been doing that after I left. Come on, buddy. Y'all all got the same story. How y'all all got the same story? Everybody that's been to a Diddy party apparently left before everything started going down. Come on. What are we talking about? What are we talking about? You walked in a random room, but you ain't see nothing going down. You ain't see them 1,000 bottles of baby oil. You ain't see them. Oh, okay.
Isn't offering that, and everyone's like, another night where no one.
I thought everyone knew Epstein and Diddy went hand in hand.
People are going there for that reason, and you can't all not be the reason.
They do,
so do
bro.
I think that there's a secret society that drinks blood and runs the world? No, I do not. I feel like that's wishful thinking.
Diddy do it on Diddy
like
can.
Epstein. In the chaos, there is a
Diddy
little bit
do
of
it, Diddy
believability.
can,
I sure
Diddy
as hell
got
don't
it,
believe there's
he's
any
your
good
man.
billionaires. The issue is that searching for one larger conspiratorial universal
Ain't he in
truth
jail?
makes us look
Yeah,
crazy,
Diddy's
hurts
in
our
jail.
credibility, and ultimately helps the bad actors of the world. The rich and powerful want you to believe in conspiracies. It makes your accusations look stupid and not real. There's a reason why no one's ever sued David Icke for calling them a pedophile. It's because he doesn't matter and no one gives a shit about him. If we focus our energy on going after
you
the
say
bad
this 3
actors and not
times,
some
he
bullshit
appears.
conspiracy
Chill
that
out,
we made
chill
up
out,
about
chill
the
out.
bad actors, we could probably make our own new world order that's sick and cool and has blackjack and hookers. New videos every Wednesday and Saturday. Like, comment, and subscribe. Shout out to the extra tug that's $4.
All right, man. With that being said, that's been my reaction to the darkest conspiracies, man. What's a conspiracy y'all believe in? Let me know down in the comments below, man. I'm gonna let y'all know on my biggest conspiracy right now that I believe in wholeheartedly, and I'm gonna end the video immediately. The conspiracy that I believe in: the world is flat. Sheesh.